Welcome back, everyone. Or if you're new here, glad to have you join us. Today, we're diving into a compelling and sobering topic: four school shooters and the harrowing events they experienced in prison. From chilling insights to unexpected twists, we'll explore the complex journeys of these individuals behind bars. Get ready for a deep dive into their stories and the profound impacts of their actions. Let's uncover the human side of these tragic events. Number 4, Jason Clinard. On March 2nd, 2005, the tranquility of a Tennessee morning was shattered by a chilling act of violence that unfolded on a school bus. 15-year-old Jason Clinard, armed with a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol, waited for the moment the school bus would arrive at his home. As the doors opened, he unleashed three shots at the bus driver, Joyce Gregory, in a scene that would forever haunt those who witnessed it. Just a day before, Joyce had reported Jason to the school authorities for dipping smokeless tobacco on the bus. This act of discipline seemed to ignite a fury within Jason, a ninth grader, who decided to exact a deadly revenge. He carried the gun with him, lying in wait until he was about to be dropped off. As Joyce opened the bus doors, Jason executed his plan with cold precision, shooting her multiple times. The chaos that followed was nightmarish. Joyce, grievously wounded, slumped to the ground, losing control of the bus. In a desperate attempt to save the other children, one of Jason's nephews tried to steer the bus to safety, but ended up crashing into a pole. The scene was one of terror and confusion, the screams of children mingling with the harsh reality of what had just transpired. Realizing the gravity of his actions, Jason fled into the nearby woods, his mind racing. He quickly called his mother, confessing what he had done and telling her he was heading to the police station. By the time authorities apprehended him, the shockwave of his crime had already spread through the community. Despite being a minor, Jason was tried as an adult, facing the full weight of the law for his actions. The court found him guilty of premeditated murder, sentencing him to 51 years in prison. His new home became the Northeast Correctional Complex in Tennessee, where he would begin a long and arduous journey through the criminal justice system. Life behind bars for Jason was a complex tapestry of challenges and introspection. Diagnosed with mental health conditions that may have influenced his actions that fateful day, he repeatedly sought post-conviction relief, hoping to have his case reconsidered and returned to juvenile court. His appeals, however, were met with staunch opposition from the prosecution, who argued that the murder was a calculated act of vengeance. Number 3, Eric Houston. On May 1st, 1992, Lyndhurst High School in Olivehurst, California, became the scene of a devastating act of violence that would forever haunt its halls. Eric Houston, a 20-year-old former student, walked onto campus with a chilling resolve. Armed with a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun and a sawed-off .22 caliber rifle, Houston was on a mission fueled by anger and despair. His first target was Robert Brenz, his former civics teacher who had failed him years earlier. Houston entered Brenz's classroom and fatally shot him, a bullet marking the start of a harrowing spree. The chaos escalated as Houston turned his gun on Judy Davis, a student present in the room, ending her life abruptly. His rampage continued as he moved through the school, shooting Jason Edward White in the chest and leaving him to die in the hallway. As the school descended into chaos and lockdown procedures were enacted, Houston's rage remained unquenched. He forced his way into another classroom, corralling about 30 students inside and coercing an additional 50 into a hostage situation. The school, once a place of learning and safety, had transformed into a scene of terror. For hours, Houston held the school in a grip of fear. The 8-hour standoff with the police saw him negotiating while gradually releasing hostages. The turning point came at 10 p.m. when he surrendered after being assured he would face no more than 5 years in a minimum security prison, a promise that, unknown to him at the time, would never be honored. Houston's trial concluded with a death sentence, and he was sent to San Quentin State Prison, California's oldest and most notorious prison, which houses the state's death row for male inmates. Now over 40, Houston languishes in the shadow of the execution chamber, awaiting his fate. Life on death row at San Quentin is a grueling existence. The prison, perched above the scenic San Francisco Bay, is a stark contrast to the bleak reality within its walls. Houston's behavior in prison has been less than exemplary. He has frequently clashed with guards and other inmates, making his time even more challenging. But beyond the prison's harsh confines, the looming shadow of execution hangs heavy. Houston is set to become the first person executed by California since 2006, facing lethal injection as mandated by state law. Number 2, Vincent Rodriguez. On a bitter January morning in 2002, the corridors of Martin Luther King Jr. High School became the backdrop for a tragic tale of misguided loyalty and explosive vengeance. Vincent Rodriguez, just 18 years old, carried the weight of a turbulent relationship and a simmering rage that would soon erupt in violence. Days before the fateful event, Rodriguez's girlfriend was embroiled in a heated altercation with two students, Andre Wilkins and Andrell Napper. The confrontation, sparked by taunts and bullying, left Rodriguez feeling helpless and humiliated. Determined to prove his worth and defend his girlfriend's honor, Rodriguez made a drastic decision. At 8:46 a.m. on January 14, 2002, Rodriguez strode through the school's metal detectors. Though the detectors didn't sound an alarm, by 1:50 p.m., he had returned to confront Wilkins and Napper. In the chaos that followed, 3 gunshots echoed through the hallways, sending students and teachers into a panic. Rodriguez fled the scene, initiating a tense manhunt that ended 96 hours later, with his arrest in a stolen Nissan found outside his grandmother's house. The incident underscored Rodriguez's anonymity in the school. He was so infrequently present that few even knew who he was. Facing charges of attempted murder and assault, Rodriguez stood at a crossroads. The courtroom drama that unfolded would shape his future. Had he chosen to go to trial, a maximum sentence of 25 years loomed over him. However, his decision to plead guilty, coupled with his documented history of mental illness and fear of gang violence, swayed Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Daniel Fitzgerald. Rodriguez was sentenced to 10 years in prison, a leniency that many would later question. His destination, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, MCC, notorious for its brutal and dehumanizing conditions. Here, Rodriguez's journey into darkness deepened. MCC's reputation for inhumane treatment is well-deserved. Inmates often face prolonged solitary confinement and severe physical abuse at the hands of guards. Rodriguez's experience was no exception. In a place where survival often hinges on strength and alliances, Rodriguez, branded as a sucker for his girlfriend, became an easy target. The bullying was relentless. Older inmates saw Rodriguez's crime, a misguided attempt to protect his girlfriend, as a sign of weakness. He was tormented and beaten, his cries for mercy echoing unheard through the cold, sterile corridors. His days were filled with a grim cycle of isolation, violence, and despair, driving him to the brink of madness. Number 1, T.J. Lane. The tale of Thomas Michael T.J. Lane III is one of chilling violence and relentless rebellion. Born on September 19, 1994 in Cleveland, Ohio, Lane's early years were marred by turmoil. Growing up in a household fractured by his father's abusive behavior and his parents' eventual divorce, Lane's life was a brewing storm from the start. Sent to Lake Academy, an alternative school for troubled students, Lane's escalating behavioral issues foreshadowed the darkness that would follow. On a cold February morning in 2012, Lane walked into the Chardon High School cafeteria armed with a .22 caliber handgun. What unfolded next would scar the community forever. Lane opened fire, killing 3 students and wounding 3 others. The brutality of his actions was matched only by his disturbing demeanor in court. During his sentencing, Lane wore a white t-shirt emblazoned with the word killer and made a grotesque display by flipping off the victims' families, laughing as they expressed their grief and anger. His lack of remorse was palpable, his defiance chilling. He was sentenced to 3 life terms without the possibility of parole and was sent to the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution in Lima, Ohio. But prison didn't dampen Lane's violent spirit. In July 2013, during a routine check, guards discovered 3 tattoos on Lane's chest. The tattoos violated prison rules, earning him 10 days in solitary confinement. His rebellious streak continued as he racked up violations for smoking marijuana, showing disrespect to staff, and refusing to participate in educational programs. His teachers, exasperated, let him doodle in class, a macabre act in which he drew pictures of himself adorned with the word killer and filled his math assignments with sketches of cats. Lane's time at Allen Correctional Institution was punctuated by his infamous attempt to escape in September 2014. In a bid to emulate a character from Prison Break, Lane, along with two other inmates, crafted a makeshift 13.5-foot ladder and exploited a malfunctioning security camera struck by lightning and left unrepaired. They managed to breach the prison's perimeter but were swiftly captured. Following his escape attempt, Lane was transferred to the Ohio State Penitentiary in Youngstown, a maximum security facility. There, under the watchful eyes of guards, Lane faced even stricter confinement. The severity of his crimes and his constant threats from other inmates necessitated this high-security transfer. Eventually, to mitigate the risk to his life, he was moved to the Warren Correctional Institution, where he remains today, serving out his days in the shadow of his own violence. Thank you for joining us on this exploration into the lives of school shooters and their experiences in prison. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you next time. Stay safe and curious.